Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Rich. Today I'm going to be joined by my good friend James, and I'll let him introduce himself in just a second. But before I do, let me go ahead and get set up. Let's see. Got one person joining us so far. Good morning and welcome. Jeff Brown, Dr. John Edine, Rob Wren, Razmik, John. Please like and share. Got a great show for you this morning. I'm joined by one of my oldest and dearest friends, James. I'm going to let him introduce himself in just a second. But before we do, let's go ahead and hit that share button. Drinking a little espresso out of my Guinness mug. James, I got this in Dublin, Ireland. Gosh, man. Probably back in January of this year, which seems like 2 lifetimes ago. As much crazy stuff's been going on.
Well, just think about this. You were here in November. That seemed like that was how long ago?
I know. Seems like it was a year or so ago. So again, thank you to the 11 folks that are joining us this morning. Please like and share. Got a great show for you this morning. Really pleased to bring you this gentleman, my good friend, James. And James, we might as well go ahead but before we do, before you introduce yourself, I want to say we got to thank today's sponsor, the American Warrior Society. We just went over 2,000 members yesterday, James. So really excited about that.
Awesome.
And if you want to check out the American Warrior Society, AmericanWarriorSociety.com or the AmericanWarriorShow.com, you can find it on your Apple's iTunes app or any other place that you find podcasts. We've got hundreds of shows for you with about almost everybody in the tactical space. So definitely want to check that out. And also one of the things that we're offering is live Zoom sessions with the IDPA world champion Mike Seeklander Thursday nights for coin members only. So please check that out as well. Thank you to the 13 folks that have got up early this morning, like my dear friend James did. It's actually, what time is it there where you live, James?
It's 0 dark 30 right now, brother. It's 04:32. I'm waiting for you to send that sun over from the east. It's still dark outside.
It's on its way, brother.
Thanks. I appreciate you.
All right. So that's also early where Gerald's at this morning in Oregon. Morning, Gerald. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started, man. James, I've known you for about 20 years. We're in the Marines together. It's 20 years, man. Crazy.
21 years.
21. Unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
So we're in the Marines together. Then now you're in a law enforcement agency in a large metropolitan police force somewhere out on the West Coast area. We won't say exactly where. And tell us a little bit about yourself, brother.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. So I'm James. I spent 5 years in the Marine Corps. I'm not your average guy that you have on the show. I'm not the tactical guy, although I've been shooting all my life. So I was a structural mechanic on F-18s in the Marine Corps. I spent majority of my time at MCS Miramar. Did 2 deployments, one of which was in Iraq. I was in OEF and IEF. OIF, sorry. And got out in 03, had an honorable discharge, had a bunch of different jobs after I got out of the Marine Corps. Before I became a police officer, I was in aerospace. So now here I am. I've been on the force for 3 years now and loving every minute of it.
And what do you do specifically within your department? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, without giving out any names. So basically on my team, we're strictly proactive. I don't take any calls for service. Basically, we bridge the gap between patrol and the detectives. We do a little plainclothes operations, drug buys, stuff like that.
Okay, great. And again, thank you to the 27 folks that are joining us, and thank you for everybody that's going to watch the replay in the coming days. Please like and share. We got a good show for you today. We're going to talk about a little bit more about modern law enforcement, which we've been talking about recently with Andrew last week that we had on 13 years of patrol. We've had on TC, retired FBI. We've had on Dr. Adine, We had on Andrew Branca, wrote The Law of Self-Defense. And today, again, we're going to talk to someone that's actually out there on the front lines of American law enforcement today. Let's start out, man, with where is the state of law enforcement today? You know, I was a police officer a long time ago, brother. What's going on out
I
there today?
remember the stories. Man, it's crazy. You know, it's like I feel like we're kind of in the mode right now. We're waiting for the dust to settle. I mean, my agency, we're kind of a touristy place, and since this all started, we've had over 90 protests.
Wow.
Which we've probably been in half of those. I mean, it's ranged from peaceful protest, which we appreciate. You know, we really appreciate the peaceful protest, but we go from people throwing 8-inch pieces of concrete at us, frozen water bottles, rocks. My partner got hit in the mouth, chipped his tooth, busted his lip. I mean, it's unbelievable. People have had their kids out there yelling, F the police, F12, and it's just been it's crazy. So we're just kind of like in a mode where we're just like, okay, so what's today going to be like? How many protests do we have? And yeah, it's kind of like just where we're at. I mean, no one knows what to think. We don't know when this is going to be over. We just majority of police officers, I think, speaking from where we're at, is that just want a peaceful resolution to all this stuff if we can.
Well, my concern is, we're going to move through we have several high profile trials that are going to be going on. And I think that, which is why I'm fearful that the dust is far from settling. The Rodney King incident was televised first in March of 1991. The trials didn't go down until 1992. And then that's the city, everything burned down again. So we're going to see the trial of the 3 guys for Ahmaud Arbery. We're going to see, the trials for, the killer of George Floyd. We've got Rashad Brooks, that whole trial going to go on, and they're going to go on probably at the same time, or maybe, so who knows what's going to happen, which is just really unsettling. Oh, and by the way, it's an election year and we're in the middle of a pandemic. It's
absolutely.
What in the heck?
I'm waiting for the 4 horsemen to come over the hill.
I'm telling you, brother. The bugler's getting ready to sound its call. Hey, listen, if you got any questions for James, this morning we're purposely not giving you his last name just out of respect and safety for his family, because you were telling me yesterday that, people were saying, I'm going to find you and kill your family and stuff. Tell us about that.
Yeah, they're trying to do what, they dox us. I mean, there was a big rush. The department put out a memo. It's like, hey, if you're doing any social media stuff, take it down, get rid of it, close it down. I mean, because we've had, there's been so many, I can't even count anymore. People just walking down what we call the skirmish line. I'm not sure if you're familiar. So basically, we're all lined up, pushing them, getting them out of the way, and we have people just walking down the line, videotaping us. Okay, this is your name, this is your name, this is your name, this is your name. What's your badge number? Then we have people, we're gonna find you, we're gonna kill your family, we're gonna find them. Wait till you go to work, then we're coming in and we're gonna kill your family. So that's the kind of stuff we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, it's unsettling, and it's something I just can't imagine. I just can't imagine, because that certainly wasn't the state of law enforcement when I was a police officer, man. Yeah, I mean, let's talk about Chaz. How is this thing going to play out, brother?
Dude, I have no idea. It's one of those things. It's sad, and it's kind of like one of those, you reap what you sow at the same time. I'm sure Jenny Durkin wasn't. This is her summer of love. She was saying, huh?
Yeah.
So I heard as of Monday, she says enough is enough now. The kids have got to go back home. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do this one. I mean, because Seattle's had their hands tied for so long. Look at their homeless problem.
Yeah.
I mean, people just allowed to defecate on the streets of Seattle and do whatever the hell they want to do without any repercussions. So that one's going to be interesting to watch play out.
What's really crazy, man, is probably 2 or 3 years. Mike and I taught a week-long firearms package to the Seattle Port Police. It was
Oh,
their
yes, right.
yeah, it was their
Yeah.
trainers. Seattle Port Police, Tacoma, and Seattle PD. Beautiful place, great officers, man. My heart goes out to those guys because retaking that, it's easy to maintain something, but to retake it, how are you going to retake it unless you do it like Fallujah, drop leaflets and go, man, hey, if you're here by 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, you're going to face the pointy end of a bayonet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Um, that was kind of like us. When this, I'm not gonna lie, they kind of caught us with our pants down because the city we're in is not known for that type of culture. Excuse me. Um, at one point there was 15 of us. We were surrounded by 300 people. We're trying to hold the line, and at one point we're like, our supervisor like, just, hey, screw it, let them have it, back off, and let's regroup. So yeah, it's I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know how to express it anymore.
Especially for a former Marine, it's hard to just like cede
Oh
ground and
yeah.
give up ground. You know what I mean? But
Oh yeah. When every bit of every fiber in your body, you're just like, oh, this is not going to happen. But hey, it's like kid gloves.
yeah, a tactical retreat.
Yeah.
Let's see who's on this morning. Gerald says, raise up against those that help us and not those that make the laws. Doesn't make sense. Thanks for what you do and all law enforcement.
Thank you.
Gerald says, thanks for your service. It's early out there with Jared's in Montana. Paul says, good morning. Ed says, morning, Rich. Rich says, good morning, Rich and James. Onedia Love says, good morning from Maryland. Good morning. Alan Kelly, good morning, sir. And Alan was a retired Virginia State Trooper. Good morning,
cool.
Jim, Jeff, John, James. Lots of folks on this morning. I see some former Marines in the mix. God bless you. Yeah. Sydney says, good morning from Chicago. And James, you're from Chirac, ain't you?
I'm from the south side.
Yeah, James from the south side of Chicago.
Yeah, so. I actually have a friend who's CPD there, and those poor guys too. Oh my God.
Ooh.
Yeah, so basically they're told they're told to just be hands off. It's crazy. It is absolutely mind-boggling, the situation we're in right now.
Yeah. So for those of you just joining us, we got 32 live viewers, and please like and share. James is a former Marine, OIF veteran, and now is a police officer with a large metropolitan police agency out on the West Coast. We won't say which one or where. We won't say his last name out of respect for James and his family. He has a beautiful family. And James is a good friend of mine, has been for about 20 years now. And he's currently a member of did you say the name of your team before I say it?
No, I've not.
Okay, let's just leave it at that. So let's talk about George Floyd, man. What are your thoughts about that?
It's funny. I was thinking about this last night after we got off the phone. I mean, I've never seen an incident where the country as a whole, other than 9/11, where everyone was like, "Yeah, this is messed up."
Yeah.
This is certainly we are not taught as far as our use of force program, and we're probably one of the best departments in this country when it comes to use of force and stuff like that. And when that video came out, I don't think I heard one officer in my little area command and where we weren't like, holy cow, this is absolutely disgusting. And that's the other thing too. I mean, it makes guys like me who actually care enough to be here and do what we do, and you're just like, terrible, absolutely terrible.
Yeah, that's exactly the way I felt when I saw that, man. My first thought was probably anger at the officer, Dennis, whatever his name is. It's not even worth saying. Yeah, Chauvin. I'm like, man, look what you've done. You've just,
I know.
you know what I'm saying? It's like, what have you, because, but let's be clear. have I, as a corrections officer, law enforcement officer, even as a Marine in combat, put my knee on a suspect's neck or a EPW's neck? Absolutely. Have I put it on their upper
Absolutely.
back? Absolutely. It's part of the initial control. But however,
Yeah, yeah. You're not doing it for almost 10 minutes.
right, once they're in custody, man, I mean, we're
Like, dude,
talking, yeah,
hey,
we're talking
hey,
about
so here's
30 seconds at most.
yeah. See, but here's the thing too. A lot of people Monday quarterback everything. I mean, Floyd was a big dude, you know. But with that being said, proper training would have alleviated that whole situation. I
Yeah.
don't know. If they teach segmenting in Minnesota, Minneapolis. Sorry, but I mean that's a great technique and it works.
Yeah.
I've been there, done that. Yeah, and there's no reason why he had to be on his neck for more than 9 minutes.
Yeah. Now,
It was
Jared
disgusting.
brings well, yeah, and Jared brings up a great point. Is there any plausible reason George Floyd was not placed in the car? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think when they put him in there, he
Yeah,
was saying he was claustrophobic. I can't breathe.
yeah,
I don't know if he was kicking the car. All this is going to come out in court. However, I would say that again, you put him in a recovery position on his side,
on
and
the left side, yes.
yeah, exactly. So, and everybody knows this. I mean,
Hmm.
this is
Here's here's
policing
here's my
101.
thing. Exactly. Well, here's my thing too. And like I said, I'm not Monday with quarterbacking anything. Here's my thing. Why weren't hobbles put on that dude?
Yeah,
If they were so worried about him, why wasn't he hobbled?
yeah.
Then put in the back of the car. I mean, so there
Well,
was
well, not every agency believes in those things, you know. But again,
and then players. I
it's
mean,
yeah,
we'll see, but a lot of times too, people think we hog tie people, which we don't. There's no
yeah, right.
there's no such thing as hog tying. So
And I wanted to also let's talk about the George Floyd incident relative to something like Rashad Brooks incident in Atlanta.
uh,
What are your
you're
thoughts
comparing
there?
apple. They're comparing apples to bowling balls.
Yeah,
I mean,
explain that.
what they're doing to what they're doing to those two guys is absolutely ridiculous. It's just sorry, I'm still waking up, brother. Especially having a 9-month-old in the bed with us, and he was beating
Oof.
me up pretty good last night. Um, it's funny. I just had some. I was just at a training class yesterday before I called you. Um, Advanced officer skills training, and what we do, we get ran through scenarios. We get researched in the Taser 7 and stuff like that. Um, I mean, just in the training environment, you know, it's seconds to make these decisions, especially in the dark. In the dark, you got a guy running away from you, and he does this. What do you think he's gonna do?
Yeah,
And for all those that just have the comments like just shoot him in the leg or a taser. What's a taser gonna do? Let me shoot you with a taser, especially when you're not trained in it. What if he would have shot one of the what was it, Officer Rolfe?
yeah,
What if he shot him in the face or something with a taser,
yeah.
rendered him unconscious or something like that. We can what if all day, but at the end
Well,
of the day, I'm taking that shot all day.
yeah, same here. Because guess I've got AFib, so I already have a electrical impulse problem in my heart. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So, and a taser would probably shut me down. Good morning, Bill. Bill Knopfsinger, a real good friend of mine, has joined us. Bill and I were in the Marine Corps together. Good to have you on this morning. Okay, guys, please like and share. We're joined this morning with James, who is we're in the Marine Corps together. He's an OIF veteran and now is with a large metropolitan police force out on the West Coast somewhere. We won't say where. Um, I would ask you too, like, could you ever see a situation where a district attorney in your uh, agency that would press charges before the investigation's done, like
What?
the district attorney Howard did?
I was waiting for the circus music to start playing. What a joke!
Yeah.
Oh my god! No, that wouldn't happen here.
You know, and as an investigator in the Marine Corps, man, it wouldn't happen where I was at either. And I remember them trying to rush me on several occasions. But I will tell you, it takes time to conduct an investigation, as you know, man. And some of the high-profile investigations that I worked, they occurred over multiple states. I would have to collect email records, cell phone records, government credit card records. All this stuff takes time. And then you put it all together. I mean, one of the investigations I had was like 7 inches thick by the time I was done. It took me a couple months, and then we go to the charging phase, and then we go to the pretrial hearing and all this stuff. So it's like, what is going on, man?
The judicial process, you mean?
Right. Yeah. Thanks.
What is it? Let's put what is it? How does it say? Let's put the cart in front of the horse. If I've ever seen it. I think Andrew touched on this last week. It's like, what a coincidence. It's an election year. This guy's what? They're looking at him. He's under investigation for tax fraud and sexual assault like that. Oh, it's like your kids. You bust them doing something, and they're right away. Oh, it was this one. It was this one over here. It's that's the same situation.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, man, I don't know what to make of it. I can't imagine a scenario that I've ever seen where something like this occurred. Of course, is it well within the District Attorney Howard's purview to do something like that? I don't know. I'm not familiar with Georgia law, but guess who we're joined with this morning? Attorney Andrew Branca, who wrote the Law of Self-Defense. So Andrew, I know, has talked about this a few times, and it's just, what a break with. I mean, it's just, I know nothing about jurisprudence, and I probably should shut up.
Well, here's the thing too. From what I was reading, is that he went and had the warrant issued by a family court judge who's only been a judge for 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff going on there.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Phil Strader is on. Good morning, Phil. It's quite an honor to have you on, sir. Sydney says, more generally, police officers are being demonized now like the military during Vietnam.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a great analogy.
Great analogy.
Also, let's see. Let me throw this one at you, James. This comes from Alan Kelly, the retired Virginia state police officer. What direction do you think law enforcement will be headed in the future after this stuff settles down?
Man, I'm scared. I'm absolutely scared. I mean, it's funny. I actually got trapped by, I shouldn't say trapped. He's a good dude. He got caught up on some, administrative type discipline, and we were having a conversation in the hallway, and he was saying, man, you know what, if I were a cop under 5 years, he goes, I'd become a fireman. He said, so what do? He goes, you in a situation where someone pulls a gun on you, he goes, you're almost better off getting killed. At least your family will be taken care of. Or what do? You get, you worry about the possibility you're getting charged with murder for doing your job.
Yeah. And as Andrew Branca has talked about before, sometimes the punishment is the process to put you through that. Like, I think DA Howard knows that I don't think Officer Ralph is going to be convicted of anything. I think that I think it was a good shoot. But if you bleed this guy and make him suffer for a year and all this other stuff, and it's going to cost him a lot of, his family's meager wealth and stuff like that, then you've punished him in the eyes of the community, probably enough to get yourself reelected,
Well, yeah, they tarred and feathered him.
Yeah. Andrew says prosecutors, let me answer this one real quick, James. Andrew says prosecutors can do most anything they want to do until they get to trial. Then they have to fight the defense. Yeah. Go ahead, James. I'm sorry.
No, I lost what I was going to say. I'm already out of my coffee.
Yeah. Well, here's what I would say, man. I said this last week, and I think it bears repeating. Whoever come up with this marketing slogan to protect and serve, I'd like to punch him in the mouth, because that's never been the tenet of law enforcement. I didn't like the idea of, I thought some of the
Blasting
law
all of our
enforcement.
cars.
Yeah, I didn't like some of the stuff that in the mid '90s when I was a cop. The community policing and stuff like that. I thought it was a little too touchy feely in one regard. I mean, I have a degree in social psychology, so I can be as touchy feely as anybody. I get it.
Yeah.
But my point is, I'm here to enforce the law without prejudice or any other reason.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So from that point of departure, I'm here to enforce the law, whether you like it or not. Whether I like it or not. I may not agree with the laws. I didn't agree with everything that the 23 years I was in the Marine Corps. I didn't agree with all the commanders in chief I served under. I'm sure you didn't either.
I didn't
But
agree on getting up at 05 to go run 4 miles either.
yeah, but we do this part of the societal compact, right? Is we have law enforcement officers, we train them and equip them to go out and enforce the laws that society says are important enough to be enforced. And we go out and do that. And like with Rashad Brooks, if the citizens of Atlanta, don't want to have DUI, driving under the influence of alcohol or some other intoxicant, crime punishable, then take it off. I happen to agree with my friend John Correa that it's a murder in progress, and he had to be stopped. And I think part of it is educating the public. Rashad, right before they go to make a lawful arrest, it's like, yeah, go ahead and call me a cab or whatever he said, just real nonchalant. No, bro, you broke the law, and you're going to jail.
That's the thing. I mean, now it doesn't matter how minuscule the law is. Take for instance jaywalking. It doesn't matter how small the infraction is. You did it.
Yeah.
Andrew touched on that last week as well. I mean, there's got to be some kind of accountability. There's got to be a point where you look in the mirror every day and look, I got to get my stuff together. And I don't know how many times, I pulled someone over, no tags, no registration, no insurance, no driver's license, and all of these, they don't have any of these. And then when they have an attitude with me, why are you pulling me over? Why are you harassing me? And I'm like, well, okay, let's start over. Because Rich, you know me.
Yeah.
I'm one of the most cool. I'm like a house cat.
Yeah.
until you piss me off.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's no accountability. It's like you're mad at me because of the poor life decisions you've made. And you're mad at just because of this green uniform I'm wearing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it's like Andrew said, education. I can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk. It starts in the home and stuff like that. Well, if you read, and I read this yesterday, the Black Lives Matter mission statement. Please read that for yourself. You can find it on their website, or it says what matters. And one of the things that they talk about is that, and I'm going to paraphrase because I can't remember the exact phraseology, James, but it was something like the destruction of the nuclear family was one of their stated aims.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm like, because they feel like the community raising the children is the better idea than mothers and fathers that love each other and create a good home for their children. So we can't say that education starts in the home, man. We have them for 12 years. Let's start teaching civics again. Let's talk about how to be a good citizen instead of math for 12 years. It just doesn't make any sense to me, because you're right. I remember seeing this, the same thing. It's like, now you're mad at me, bro, for real? Because of something that you did. Okay, let's see some of the points we have here, James. John says there's nothing like always being Monday morning quarterbacked on doing the best job in the crappiest situation. Yeah.
That's absolutely correct.
Let's see. Phil had a comment. Let's see here. Robert says, wife and two of my sons in law enforcement. I'm proud to back the blue. Yeah, as we are here as well. And I think, it's one of we're entering into a phase, to me, James, and then I'll shut up and let you talk, it's like, what is that saying? All that is required for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. I think, we're getting to a point where, we're going to have to do something. Those of us that are like, okay, I've listened to you. I respect you. I hear you. But at the same time, to go back to what you said earlier, there wasn't a soul in America. We completely, those of us that saw the video of Mr. George Floyd, we supported his arrest. We understood, especially those of us that have done the job. It's like
swift action. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
we get it. So now why are you burning the city down? The guy was arrested, man. He's going to be punished. Nobody was happy about that.
I think it was the next. I came on, so I work Wednesday through Saturdays, and I think it was the beginning of my work week. We had this was after the incident. It's like Voldemort. I feel it's weird. I can't talk about. I can't talk about the situation. We had a rabbi come in. He had, and I told him I was going to steal it. I said he had the best analogy. Right now, we don't see it, because you don't see the forest for the trees. He said, but right now, what's going on? We feel like we're the boogeyman right now, boogeyman under the bed. He goes, but what the situation is like right now is you take a tin can and you put 3 or 4 pennies in it and you shake it, and it's loud. It makes a lot of noise. You take that same jar and you fill it to the top with the coins, and what happens? You hear nothing. That's how it's the vast, the silent majority. He goes, we're behind you guys. He goes, I've talked to I don't even know what it's called, parish. I don't know what it's called.
Synagogue for Jewish communities.
No, yeah, his followers are, hey, when you talk to the guys, let them know that we're thinking about them. We wish them the best. And I mean, our city has been amazing as far as that goes. I mean, we've had restaurants, private citizens donate tons of stuff to us, and I mean, that part of it feels pretty good.
Yeah. Andrew says, who was our guest last week, good morning, brother, says not to mention,
man?
What up? Says not to mention if they have gave Brooks a break and he came back an hour later and got in his car and crashed, then the officers would be blamed for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was going to say that too. It's like one of those things, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Because I'm sure, Andrew's done with it. You've dealt with it. Like he was saying, 10 minutes, they're in the car and like, oh, what am I doing here? Well, you're driving drunk, man. You were passed out in the Wendy's parking drive-through. It's all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're the bad guy either way.
Yeah. Robert says it would be wonderful if communities and people would help regulate their own bad behavior. If you regulate yourself, you have no need for extra regulations and laws, and thus decrease how much law enforcement intercedes. So if communities started demanding better behavior, most of these problems would go away and everyone would be safer. Agreed. Alan says, I see law enforcement second guessing themselves on all situations and opening up a whole can of worms and getting injured or killed. Yeah, 100%.
That's a good point. It's a good point he brings up, because I say, look, I started this way late in my life. I'm 41, and it's scary sometimes because you go on a dynamic call and you'll see some of these newer kids, and I'm not saying that I'm not new. I am new, but newer than me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they're waiting for daddy to give them permission to do anything. They can't decide what to do without their sergeant telling them, hey, all right, hey, let's go. Let's form an arrest team. Let's go do this. And it's like little kids waiting around for daddy to give them the permission to do whatever they need to do.
Yeah.
And that's exactly right. That's the scary part. It's because you only have split seconds to decide what you're going to do, and if you're constantly second guessing yourself, it's not going to be a good situation.
Yeah, Phil says the law enforcement officer job will continue to be harder as long as God is taken out of the picture. Sorry to preach, but respect, love, and honor are dying on the vine because people are losing their moral compass. Phil, you're absolutely right. And Phil, I believe you were a police officer with the Park Police. Is that correct? I know you're president of the USPSA, so glad to have you on, sir. Gerald says, how do those of us on the sidelines help the police? James, what do you think about that? How do we do that?
like they said, teach, talk, just tell, spread the word. This one I keep thinking of different points, and I keep coming back to this stuff. That's that's a hard one. I don't. It's hard because I know people want to get involved. Just if you have any law enforcement in your family, just reach out to them. Like, hey man, we're here for you. I mean, because there was days I got home after some of these not riots or protests. I mean, and I just felt like I got my ass whooped. Well, I pretty much did, but it was something I've never felt. Even being overseas, I've never felt like that. Where I've had an 8-year-old kid come up to me and tell me, F you. Like, where's your dad at? I want to talk to your dad.
Yeah. Let's see. Andrew Branca, the Law of Self-Defense, says, I'd be interested to hear what James has to say about these legislative moves to strip officers of qualified immunity looking to become a fireman, ?
Yeah. What did you call them last week? Second responders?
Yeah. Love you firemen out there, folks. Love you.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's like the Navy and Marine Corps right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to give. I mean, if you saw bring it, and it's laughable. It's just DA. It's like power.
You're breaking up, brother. Not sure if you can hear me.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. As far as qualified immunity goes, man, that would be the spot at which I would leave. If I was a law enforcement officer, I might put up with some of this stuff, but the minute you pull qualified immunity away, then it's time for me to roll.
Yeah.
That's a line in the sand, man.
Can't say that. Can't say line in the sand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a no-no.
Is that what you're hearing from your leadership? Can't say that?
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Why is that?
Because you didn't exhaust all means of de-escalation.
Okay.
Yeah, weird,
the problem with that is, and we talk about this, you do the use of force training so that you make these mental decisions beforehand, right? So that I don't have to spend my mental bandwidth debating on this decision. Somebody points and starts shooting at me, I shoot. That's a line in the sand, right?
Yeah.
It's a decision that's already been pre-made in training, and I'm going to execute that the minute someone raises a knife and lunges at me or points a firearm at me. Decision's already been made.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say. Yeah, Andrew was talking about that last week. Practice. What did you say? Buys 20,000 rounds with his own money.
Yeah.
We're constantly up at the range, shooting, and we have a lot of people. I think I forget who said it last week. Law enforcement, they need to have training days. We do. Well, we don't have them as frequent. We have them every other week. We have specific days that we go over use of force. We go over law. We go over defensive tactics. All that stuff.
Let me ask you.
Go ahead.
No, please. Finish your thought.
No, it's come in handy. It's definitely coming. You practice. You always, what they say, you fall back on your training. So.
Well, Michael, my good friend Michael Gentili says this gets better at the ballot box, and part of the antecedent is the knucklehead virtue signalers joining these nonsense causes. Yeah, that's a good point, man. It's like, you want to help law enforcement, vote, right? You want to help, vote at the city council level, vote at the state level, vote at the national level. Every way you can, get to the ballot box this year, man. That's the only way we're going to turn the tide on this silliness.
Yeah, I mean, we have a judge here who absolutely hates cops, I mean, and I think some of the protesters, she let go after we arrested them for rioting, and she even talked about giving them their bail money back. Yeah. So.
Hey man, I saw one thing I really liked. Hong Kong police were spraying a water cannon with marking dye, and then you just go
And come
and
back and
around.
get them.
Yeah, dude, I love that idea.
So it's funny you say that. So our camera system is pretty good here, and we have the facial recognition. And we caught it was a squad mate of mine that we caught him. He was spray painting the side of our cars, and we caught him on camera. And we went back a couple of days later and we got him. So
Good.
he he was kind of surprised when he saw the guys in green at his door.
I love that. And again, I would say I go back to going back to personal accountability. Um, by the time I joined the Marine Corps at 19, I think I'd had 12 speeding tickets.
Oh wow.
So I hear, and of course I had to get a waiver to join and everything, but and since that time I've probably got another 12 or 20 because it's one of those things. It's for me, I speed. It's part of who I am, every fiber of my being, and I realize that when I get pulled over, it's part of it's a price of doing business. I don't get mad at the police officer. He's doing his job. I take my ticket. I thank him for his service, and I go about my day. But my point of saying all that is to say, I would have African American Marines that work for me that would show up late to work. I'm like, hey, Corporal Smith, where were you this morning? Oh, sir, they got me for driving while black. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, what was it? Let me see the ticket there, pal. Says you were doing 70 and a 50. That's not driving while black, brother. That's
Yeah.
speeding 20 miles in excess of the
Yeah.
posted speed limit. Go pay your ticket. So it's like, no, part of the way you feel, I'm interested in hearing that dialogue, and I'll have that dialogue with you, but I'm also going to reorientate you to the facts. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's like your
Mhm.
feelings are important because they color your perception and how you view the world. But at the same time,
Mhm.
you need to be reorientated on the facts. What do you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, they all goes back to accountability, man. You
Yeah.
can't break the law and expect nothing to happen. I mean, but like Andrew said yesterday, last week, discretion. Man, you know me, and as long as you're cool with me, I'm gonna be cool with you, man. I mean, I don't, I'm in a biracial marriage,
Yep.
so
I didn't know if you wanted to go there, but go ahead.
oh yeah, absolutely. I don't care. Yeah, so I don't. That to me is ridiculous because people don't know me. All they see is this uniform, and once they start talking to me, then they see like, oh, okay, yeah, this dude's not, he's not your average cop.
Yeah, because you're not from the city that you're a police officer in. You're from Chicago. You're in a
Yeah, I'm from the
biracial
South Side of
marriage.
Chicago.
Yeah. So,
So I know the game.
yeah. Let's see. Robert says if people want to challenge the police departments, I would like to see them go get a criminal justice degree, go through the local academy, and try to do their job in their own communities. That's an interesting point Robert brings up, man. I think there's some merit to, in order to become a city councilman or in order to be a county whatever, sit on the county board, you probably should go through the police academy and do X number of ride-alongs in order to
Hmm.
get a appreciation for the job. What do you think?
Well, absolutely. I just encourage regular citizens go do a ride along. You think this job's so easy? I like when I don't remember what department it was, but they put he was a civil rights activist, and they did the reality based training with him. Put the mask on him, and we did they did the sim rounds with him. That dude got lit up.
Yeah,
You had it's
he
like,
started
hey,
shooting everybody, didn't he? I saw
yeah,
that
it's like,
video.
hey, why didn't you shoot him in the leg?
Yeah,
And see, and that changed his perception of law enforcement right there. And I think you know make I was thinking about this the other day. It's like why we need to have an open program like that. If you want to come do a ride along, I know everyone's probably thinking, well, they already do that, but no, have like a designated um, department within the department, that does take people on ride-alongs, show them, hey, this is what it's like, and change the hearts and minds.
Yeah, and one of the things it's like the communities. We want to have more community policing. Fine, no problem. We want every officer to have a degree. Fine, no problem. We want every officer to wear a body camera. Okay, fine, no problem. And what we're seeing is the body camera exonerating the police officers. It's not like, oh,
Absolutely.
did you think you were gonna catch a lot of rogue cops? Now what you found is the
Mhm.
community behaving very poorly.
Oh yeah.
Donald, let's see. Andrew says it's hard to determine race and gender when someone blows by at 70 miles per hour or running radar. I wish my vision was that good.
Hmm.
Uh, Donald says we have a city councilwoman protesting the communists here in our city, protesting with the communists. Okay, wow. Phil says heading to
Wow.
work. Keep your head on, brother. Thanks for sticking with it. And stupid Seaclander likes to say, train hard. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'll be totally honest with you. I've I know you and Andrew are, train jujitsu. I've been off for about 8 months. I need to get back in there, but I got a lot going on right now. We got a house being built, be done next month. So yeah, I need to get my butt back in the gym, start training again.
if there was ever a time, brother, now's the time. And
Oh,
you and I talked about this last night, and I'm going to go ahead and throw this gauntlet down. Um, Let me think of how I want to approach this subject. Let's say that there are some signs that there is tensions that could or may lead to some version of a civil war. Will it look like it did in 1861 to 1865? No, but you're seeing some significant divisions in this country. Okay.
oh yeah.
So, based on that, here's what I would say. There's one half of the country that's calling for war, right? Because they've never seen it. They don't know what they're talking about. They have no, they don't train, they don't shoot, they don't know what the laws are, they don't know tactics or training or strategy. And then you got the other side that are quiet right now, that are standing on the lines, getting smoke blown in their face, getting told, I'm going to kill you and your family.
Yeah.
Those people are trained. Those people do have weapons. Those people go to the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu dojo. Those people lift weights. Those people eat right. Those people train with their firearms. Those people have probably been overseas already and carry this nation's
Mhm.
flag forward. I think that other segment of society probably should be careful of what they wish for. What say you?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And without getting too into it, we can have this is a whole hour by itself.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but reality is, I don't want to see that. I
No,
got
God,
babies,
no.
and I'm sure a lot of, I know you got babies, and a lot of the viewers have babies, and I don't want to see that. Like I said, you know, I'm a lover. I'm not a fan of violence, but and get it on if I have to.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that happen, but if that were to happen, I feel sorry for them.
But I think, there's got to be political will to fix what's going on.
Yeah, yeah.
There has to be the
It's like what I
political
say.
will.
You got to pick a side,
Yeah.
and I don't want to see that happen, man.
No. John says, how do we get officers to take responsibility of their own training? I teach defensive tactics. Most officers give me excuses why they can't train that day. My
Oh
back hurts,
yeah, I saw
etc.
that.
Even getting on
Yeah,
the
I
range.
saw
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I saw that.
And John, just so you know, is I think John works EMS and is I think a purple belt maybe in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and has won worlds before, I think, at the blue belt level. So God bless you, man.
yeah, yeah. Because you know what, man, I see it too. There's guys. We just sit back. You know how it is. It's like the Marine Corps. You bust on the diet recruit. Some of these guys, and they're pushing 400 pounds, and I'm like, what are you doing? You're gonna get into a foot pursuit. You're gonna run 5 steps, and you're gonna be done, or you're gonna get on the ground, and just going to get your ass handed to you because you're not in shape.
Yeah.
Like, man, you gotta stay active. I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe this would be the whole weeding out process, with what's going on. Maybe the guys who their hearts aren't really into this profession will, start looking at other options for employment. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, because you can't force them.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're gonna force them to train on duty, and then they hurt themselves. Then that's a workman's comp issue, and you're paying them out 30, 40 grand because they blew out their ACL or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it'll take care of itself. I mean, I hate to say it like that, and I don't mean to sound harsh towards my brothers in blue, but if you're not willing to put in that time, you get what you ask for.
Yeah. Michael says, love the quote from a few years ago about the division that I described. Says, quote, one side has 8 trillion bullets and the other side can't figure out which bathroom to use. And yet you're wanting to, you're picking a fight with the guys that train and do this for a living. And Phil gives us one final quote before he heads to work. Usually those looking for trouble are the ones least prepared for it. That's a quote from Chuck Norris, evidently. Yeah.
Oh, Chuck. And that was the thing too with that first day of the protest. These guys, they started getting used to our tactics. So basically, what we would do, we would form arrest teams behind the skirmish line, right? So basically, we were picking out the main agitators. Run up, grab them, bring them behind the line, put them in cuffs or whatever. So they started adapting to that. So that's like you're only gonna smack the beast for so long. They throw a rock and run back, throw a rock and run back. So I mean that's what we're dealing with. They're not in their hearts. They're not in this like that, like they want to be. And like you said, that situation, it wouldn't end good for them.
No, and when we say them, we're talking about we're facing an ideology, right? A Marxist,
Yes.
anarchist, some sort of revolutionary ideology that I think we really need to be careful with.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You don't even know. It's like you said, it's an ideology. So it's like it's like the Taliban. They don't wear uniforms, so you don't know how they are.
Yeah.
Well, even though we can tell majority of the time who they are.
Yeah.
By their choice of hair color.
Did you go to Afghanistan?
Negative.
Just Iraq?
Nope. Yeah, Bahrain.
Yeah. Let's see.
I was.
Go ahead, brother.
Sorry. I said I wasn't a cool guy to carry a gun. I was just fixing planes.
Amen. And then you built satellites, right?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Because if I tell you what I did, it would give away where I'm at. So.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so let's see here. Any final questions for James? If not, we're going to respect his time and let him get on with his morning. It's had you on here for almost an hour, brother. Time flies when you're having fun.
Absolutely. It has been my pleasure. I'm going to go back to bed.
Hey,
I got to work today.
Oh, do you, for real? Good, man.
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
Real quick, one of the questions I have for you is, understanding where we're at now, what does policing look like a year, 2 years, 5 years from now if things are left unchecked?
It's going to be crazy. Some of these departments, especially Minneapolis, what are they going to do? What's Seattle going to do? You've given up 6 square blocks to these guys. I mean, how do you take that back? It's we're gonna have to tread lightly. I mean, thank God I work in a department where they have our backs and they support us, 100% most of the time. So, yeah, I can't even imagine what it's going to look like, not even 2 years down the road. How is this all going to turn out? I don't know. Time will tell.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think, like I said before with President Trump, with regard to the pandemic, it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you lock down the
Yeah.
country, you're stomping on civil liberties and you're going to make enemies. And if you don't do anything, then you have the potentiality to cause, innumerable deaths from this pandemic, or what we thought was going to be a really terrible pandemic. So it's the same thing here. If he cracks down and becomes law and order president that he says he is, then what does that look like? If he lets it continue, then what does that mean? It's really tough place right now for our leadership.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be him. I wouldn't want to be any of those guys.
Yeah. Okay, brother, that's all I got for you, man. Any other final questions before we let James get on with his day? He's got to get out there on the line and protect and serve today. We said we don't want to use that, and enforce the rule of law in our country. Let's see that. Don't take that protect and serve out of my vernacular.
Yeah, right.
But
partners with the community.
Yeah, and Jeff, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say my brother Jeff just said what I was thinking, but did not say. He said, unfortunately, they have your back until they don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the leadership might have your back now, but all it takes is the mayor to change hands, the city council to sway one way. They start making captains and chiefs that are politicians and not tacticians. You know what I'm saying? And you're done.
Yeah. So, but what I was going to say, we have this say that partners with community say hug a thug.
Okay.
That's the program. Hug a thug.
And again, I don't think anybody wins with that strategy. But let me be specific. I think that you can be. I think you can and should be respectful of all people, but firm and fair with them as well. I had no problems in the community or in the correctional facilities I worked at because I was firm and fair, man. You knew where I was coming from, and nobody got to slide.
It's how you carry yourself, man.
Yeah.
I think they were actually talking about this yesterday in the class. It's like they interviewed, I think it was like something like 50 felons or something like that, and they said, they were talking about a particular stop where, this cop was on a stop, and I think it's like a ticket or something like the speeding ticket, and there's a murder suspect sitting there watching him, and I guess they asked him like, why didn't you do anything to that cop when he just turned himself in apparently? How come you didn't do anything to that guy? He goes, well, because I looked at him, I saw how he carried himself, and he goes, I knew I couldn't take him.
Yeah.
It's all about how you carry yourself. If you look like a soup sandwich, I tell guys all the time. They kind of make fun of me because I still have Marine brain.
Mm-hmm.
I can get my uniform starched and razor sharp creases. My boots look good, and I carry myself like with some pride.
Yeah. And I that's one of the critiques I have of like the Rashad Brooks arrest. You got these two officers. I mean, we used to teach, put something in front of the guy when you're putting him into arrest. If not, what does he see in front of him? You're trying to do this, put his hands behind his back, and he sees freedom in front of him. He takes off.
Mm-hmm.
Put something in. And when you grab them like you mean it.
You mean it. Yeah. And that was the other thing too. If there's any guys, LE guys watching, and I don't know if this is taught or what. I hate when cops tell people, I'm going to put you under arrest. Don't say that. I don't know if you saw the video with the female officer where she went to the guy's house. Did you see that one?
I don't think so. Huh?
So basically, she was at this guy's house earlier in the day, and I forget what it was for, like a domestic call or something like that. And later in the day, there was a convenience store. There was a guy who did a petty larceny or whatever. And so she sees the guy's picture. And she goes, "Hey, I just saw that guy today. You got to check this video out, dude." Because you're just like, what are you thinking? So she walks up to this guy. And she's like, "I'm gonna read you Miranda You were at a grocery store earlier and you stole a pack of Skittles or something like that. And I'm just like, she's there by herself. Just, she's her backup's probably 10 minutes out. I'm like, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
Don't tell people you're gonna arrest them. Just put their hands behind it, like you said. Grab them, put them in hooks, and be done with it.
Yeah. I'm going to read this comment here. Jenny says, love and respect our military, and I do need to weed out and in police, but respect police. I do think they need to weed out a lot of our government. And yeah, when it comes to, weeding out, man, as an investigator in the Marine Corps, I was investigating Marines that did bad stuff
Yeah.
and getting them bad conduct discharges and kicked out or put in the brig. And, like we said the other day, the stats bear out that most of the complaints turned into internal affairs for investigation on bad cops are turned in from other police officers.
Yeah.
So
we have a policy to duty to intervene. So basically,
yes.
if I see someone doing something and I don't say something, I'm I'm just as guilty as he is.
Yeah. Somebody I worked for a really good colonel one time, and his philosophy was, don't put a big plaque on your wall that says, this is what my standards are. This is our company ethos or whatever. He goes, the standard is whatever you allow to happen in your presence.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you allow. That's your standard. So save your breath, save the ink. You don't need to put anything up. What you allow in your presence is your standard. And that's why I agree with that. What you allow to take place, if you allow that officer to do that, then you're part of that problem. So yeah, I think she's right, and I think most police officers do a really good job of doing that.
Yeah, and I don't think even with whatever his name was, Chauvin. I'm not. And let me be clear, I'm not defending him whatsoever. But I don't think there's a police officer in this country that wakes up, or internationally, as far as that goes, wakes up and goes, you know what, I'm gonna kill somebody today.
Yeah.
That's all. Just we kill everybody. It's ridiculous.
Nor do I.
For anybody.
And see that's part of the problem with this murder charge on him specifically. Like, are you going to be able to prove any sort of intent that there was some sort of intent to commit this act, or was it some sort of gross negligence that just shocks the consciousness? Like, I can't believe it. And the department policy that allowed for knees on the necks, which I don't have a problem with. I think it's a great tool if used correctly. And obviously this tool was used grossly incorrectly.
Yeah,
and it cost a man his life that did not need to perish. And we're going to, like I said at the beginning, James, this, man, we're going to see how this plays out in the courts, and it's going to be bad all over again.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up, because I actually I don't know if you've seen it on Netflix, the 1992, LA 1992.
I did. I watched that. Yeah.
Oh man, that was hard to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Any parting comments, brother? I'll leave it to you, James. What do you got for us?
No, just support the LE. If you know any, reach out. If you see them, hey, and a lot of people try to buy us lunch and stuff like that. We appreciate it. Just, hey, shake a hand. We appreciate you. And, yeah, man, that's it. Stay in the fight. Be vigilant. Keep your head on the swivel.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us today on Coffee with Rich. And I was joined today by my good friend James, a law enforcement officer at a large metropolitan agency out on the West Coast. James, thank you for being with us, brother. Stay safe out there. And
thank you, everyone. I appreciate you.
We'll talk to you later, brother. Stay safe.